So good morning, I'm Russell Hancox. I'm the co-founder and CTO at North Pole Security, and I'm going to talk to you today about what we've been doing with Santa and what Santa is doing over the summer. Everybody in this room should have heard of Santa because it was mentioned at least twice yesterday, and you were all definitely paying attention. But for anybody who hasn't heard of it or doesn't know exactly what it is, it's an open source security agent for macOS. It does binary authorization, file access authorization, USB mass storage, and a lot of telemetry. It's mostly known for binary authorization because that was the original feature, and that is what spawned the name. Santa keeps track of who is naughty and who is nice, and originally it did check the list twice. We've added a lot of security controls over the last 10 years that Santa has been open. And it's used at many companies, large and small. So we originally worked on Santa at Google as an open source project, and last year we left and founded North Pole Security, the home of Santa. So our goal as a company is to bring what we call guardrail security to everybody. And Santa has been around for 10 years, and nobody has ever worked on it as a full-time project. It was a 20% project, a find time here and there, and a labor of love in the evenings. Now we have the time and freedom to dedicate ourselves to bringing this new features and making it even better. And because this has come up a few times, I want to iterate that Santa will remain open source indefinitely. We have no plans on changing that. We welcome issues and PRs. We're very active on the MacAdmin Slack answering questions. If you would like to update our docs or add translations or fix bugs, please do. So in the 9 months since we founded the company, we've released 8 new versions of Santa. We've kept up our monthly cadence that we had before. We've added a whole host of features which I'm going to get into, fix lots of bugs, and our latest release is running on well over 200,000 machines. So it's probably pretty good for you to run on yours. I wrote this slide on Tuesday. The number is now 357, which is more PRs than we merged in the entirety of 2023 and the first 8 months of 2024. So the argument that we're working on this full-time and the velocity has gone up holds. It's also the highest number of PRs we've ever merged in a single year. So this is a list of all the things that the major features we've added. It's a long list. I'm not going to cover everything. I do want to call out we have a new docs site. Our docs were very long in the tooth and mostly wrong. The new ones are correct. We have a search feature now. We're using the responses from that to help guide new documentation, and we have a config generator to make it easier to write a config profile. We've added a new client mode to Santa called standalone mode. As well as the normal monitor and lockdown, standalone mode lets you run things. It will hold them for you if it's never seen them before. And if you use your Touch ID, the thing is allowed to run. And then the next time you run it, it will just start without prompting. So kind of a block and ask mode. We've also added a bunch of tamper protections for those users that don't like seeing things in Activity Monitor that they're not aware of. They now can't fiddle with it, try and disable it, mess with its configuration. And Santa CTL, which is the command line tool for configuring it, has gained some new abilities. We have a doctor command to help you find misconfigurations. We have an event upload command that will help upload data to your sync server that might be missing. And we've added the ability to file info to list all the entitlements in a binary because I could never remember the right incantation to code sign. This is easier. So we'll dig in on some of the major features. So file access authorization is not a new feature. We first introduced it in 2023. It lets you protect access to files on disk. So as well as authorizing what programs can run, you can now authorize what files those programs can access. It's great for protecting sensitive files like API keys and browser cookies and things. It's a very powerful tool, and we found out not enough people know that it exists. So that's why I'm here. And here's a few things you can use it for. But it's vaguely readable. So browser cookies are very valuable. You're all using SaaS apps for everything now, right? So it's not very easy to break into most SaaS apps, but if you just steal the cookies from a user's machine, it's very easy. So a crafted FAA policy like this one will produce a prompt like this if someone tries to access your browser cookies. I've been using this config since FAA existed, and we added a feature this year to make it so that signing IDs can have wildcards in them, which for Chrome is very important because Chrome has like 8 different processes you have to allow. So now we have the nice little asterisk down here. You also do have to allow MDWorker because Spotlight needs to index things, and your users will get annoying pop-ups without that. Another one that we like is the sudoers file. We found lots of malware breaking things and then modifying sudoers to get themselves extra and persistent access. Nothing needs to write to sudoers except sudo itself, unless you're using a management tool to write that file. So you can write a config like this one that just limits access to the sudo binary. And we also wrote a new GUI. Our UI was getting a bit long in the tooth. So we're using SwiftUI, nice Apple shiny goodness. The dialog where we block something has been streamlined. Most users don't know what a SHA-256 is and don't care, so we don't bother showing that anymore. There's a more details button to get all the information if you do, and there's a copy details button so that users can click that and then paste it in their support ticket when they get stuck. The About dialog, which you can see here, now shows what version you're running and has a sync button, which is nice and helpful. It's much easier than users having to drop to the command line. And you can drag and drop apps onto it to see file info. Again, terminal averse users will be very happy with these. So what's coming next? This is our sooner, later, and way later slide. So these are the things on our roadmap. Some of these are coming very, very soon. Some of these you might have to wait a little while for. So Cell, for anyone who doesn't know, is Common Expression Language. It's a super fast expression language that you can embed in high performance applications. We've talked about this feature a lot. It's very powerful, but we haven't managed to get around to it because it was tricky to do correctly in a way that didn't hurt system performance, and we just didn't have time. Most of this is now implemented and will be in next month's release. So there's a couple examples here of things that you can do with this. One of my favorites is this bottom one. If you want to make it so your users can only run a version of Chrome that was released in the last month, you can easily do that by attaching a Cell program that does that on the signing timestamp. You can also do things like block based on environment variables and arguments, but you do have to be careful with this because now we have to run the program for every execution of that binary, so that there's a potential for performance impact if you're not careful. So most of this code for Cell rules is already in, and we should be releasing that next month, unless I find a bug. Has everybody heard the phrase no logs, no crime? So Santa can produce a tremendous amount of telemetry data. We're authorizing most things that happen on your machine anyway, so we're logging all those as well. You can control what gets logged, but we can produce a lot of logs, probably more than most people can keep up with. This is about 10% of one execution. I had to shave it off because nothing would fit on the slide otherwise. The problem with that data is that most companies don't have a great way of getting it off and analyzing it. So we're working on that. We're going to be exporting the data into a common format and uploading to S3 or GCS, and then you can query it with Athena or BigQuery. And you get tons more than this. Arguments, environment variables, file descriptors. Like if you want to find out that somebody ran curl and piped it to sudo bash, you'll be able to do that. And then you can go and tell them off. So the file access authorization feature I mentioned before is a very powerful feature. You do have to be careful when crafting those policies. I found out the hard way about adding MDWorker to the Chrome cookies one when my machine kept prompting me over and over and over again while Spotlight was trying to index. So it's important that it's easy for you to distribute these policies. And until now, the only way to do that has been through the configuration profile, which is a bit slow and tedious. So we're adding that to the synchronization protocol, so that your sync server can do this instead. I mentioned that Santa has tamper protections for itself. Some other companies we've spoken to have said that they would like this for their own management tools. You know, if you're running Puppet or Chef or, I don't know, some other background utility, you could use Santa's tamper protection to stop users from killing it or playing with its configs. The tool that was mentioned yesterday, Cypress, like it has YAML files for configuration. Presumably it has some power to be able to run things as root. So you want to keep those files safe. You could potentially use Santa to do that without having to add hash protection or anything. And then way later we have all these other features. So USB blocking lets you block USB sticks that people plug in, but all it does is block a mount. That's mostly enough. For most users, that's going to stop them from plugging in a USB stick and running some malware from something they found in a car park. But for somebody who's really determined, there are ways that they could get around that. You can use like an Android phone with MTP, or you could write raw data to the disk. So we're planning to actually do the blocking at device level. This could even potentially block things like malicious keyboards and things. We also want to make it easier for people to be able to use MTLS with a sync server. A lot of people are not in a position where deploying client certificates is easy enough to do. So we would like Santa to be able to do that itself with device attestation. And then process tree rules will let Santa be able to make execution decisions based on ancestors in the process tree. So as well as working on Santa features, we've also been working on our own sync server. It's called Workshop because that's where Santa makes his toys, and we think it's pretty great. So Workshop is a SaaS sync server. It's hosted on GCP or AWS. We can host it for you, or you can host it in your own accounts. Every customer using Workshop has their own hard tenant, so they're completely isolated from each other. There's no chance of data mingling between users. It scales. We've tested 10,000 machines syncing at the exact same instant, which is about 200,000 QPS. So we think any company using Santa is going to be able to use this without any problems. And we've tested clean syncing up to 200,000 rules. We know we can do 50,000 in under a minute, which is far better than we could do when we were at Google, so it should be pretty good. The screenshot here is the landing dashboard, which admins see. Gives you an overview of how many hosts you have, what Santa mode they're running in, how many rules you have, recent apps we've seen. There's then a table of hosts. This is one of our test instances, so there's not very many here. You can see the names and who owns them, what tags they have. And then if you click on an individual host, we can drill in. We can show you whether they're running the latest version of macOS, whether they're running the latest version of Santa, whether you've turned SIT on or off, when it last synced, what rules you have. You can click these two buttons up here to immediately perform a sync. We use APNS, so that happens instantly. No more waiting 10 minutes for syncs to happen. Further down you can do things like add rules and change settings for that individual host. Every app that gets run we keep an inventory of, every binary. You can see who published it, you can see when it was last run, you can see whether Santa is allowing or denying it, how many hosts it's run on, everything. And again, there's a details page you can click on to get entitlements, the full signing certificate chain, and we're planning to add a lot more. There's also something that we have called a risk engine, which is this field down here. So that includes integrations with VirusTotal and Reversing Labs, and we're also letting you add your own custom plugins and cell rules for this too. So you could do things like say, I don't want anybody at my company to run virtualization software, and we'll flag that and say, like, somebody's tried to run virtualization software, you probably should block it. And then this is the page that shows all the rules. We support all of the rule types, obviously. You can create rules with this button up here that brings up a little modal, helps you fill it in, make sure you can't type the wrong data in. But you can also do it via the API. You can do it via Terraform. We have our own Terraform provider for this. And we also have configurable approval workflows. So there's several different versions of this. There's self-approval, where you just have to go into the UI and say, yes, I really did mean to run this. I promise I'm not running malware. Version where approvals get sent to a group, like if you have some security team that just wants to vet everything. Version where your manager has to approve everything you run. And then finally social voting, which is how we managed this at Google. I think it's the only way you can really scale to a very large number with a diverse fleet, but we leave that up to individual companies to decide. So with social voting, you have to send requests to your co-workers, and once the votes have hit a threshold, it's allowed for everybody who voted. And then you can scope rules to tags. These rules you can see here are all tagged to an individual host, so they only run on that machine. But you could, for instance, say, all my developers can run VS Code, they're all tagged with dev, and then their machines will get tagged, and we can apply those tags to machines based on your identity provider. We also integrate with Slack, so those approval workflows can come to you straight in Slack, and you just click the button. So like if you're somebody's manager and you're using the manager approval workflow, we'll send it directly to your manager just has to click approve. And Workshop is API first. Every single thing the UI can do, the API can do better. There are more features in the API. I tried to record the list of all of the methods we have. It wouldn't fit on the slide. I resorted to making this terrible video. So I have a couple of demos, just some of the things I've just shown. Mirror. Okay. We do also have dark mode. The first time we demoed Workshop, that was the first question we got asked: is do you have dark mode? Thank you, Wes.
Got you.
So you can see some hosts in here. This is my machine, directly syncing right now. I'm going to scroll past this quite quickly because this is everything I've been running. I'm sure it's probably fine, but I don't want to show it. We also have audit events for everything. So everything that you do has an audit event logged. These will show diffs on some of them, if I can find one. Never mind, none of these have diffs. Somewhere one of them does. Things like self-service rule creation, we have transactions, so you can follow the whole step through that approval workflow. We also have a report for dangerous entitlement, so you can go and look through all the machines running on your fleet that have things like JIT or unsigned executable memory turned on. You may want to be careful with those. And then let's show the approvals. So if I try to run cursor, it should be blocked. If I open, we come to this voting page, and I'm like, yeah, I did really mean to run that. I don't know who Hillary Stout is. I assume that's okay. I'm going to approve that. Oh, I already did. Okay. When did I do that? I haven't had enough coffee today. There we go. Can I now run it? No. Now I broke something. It is Friday the 13th, and I didn't sacrifice anything to the demo bot. Okay. I want to show an example of a cell rule, because I think these are really cool. So yes is blocked on my machine. Yes is no. But I want to say hello. So yes, hello is okay. That's the only thing I can run yes for. I can't say no. I can also show off the sync UI. So you can see syncing is stupidly fast. I thought when I first implemented this that it was broken and I had done something wrong. It just turns out it's really quick. And if I want to see what the app does, there's the example of the file info. And if I copy this, this is what you would end up having sent to your IT teams in a support ticket. I think that's plenty of rambling from me. So, thank you. Questions?
Any questions?
Comments? Complaints?
No comments. One question?
Thank you. So on the device, what's the mechanism that you use for Santa to get in front of a process being run before it runs? Like, how does that work?
Endpoint security, the endpoint security framework that Apple provides. So Santa used to have its own kernel extension a long time ago, and then the endpoint security team came into existence and contacted us and asked us to review one of the early versions, and we migrated as quickly as we could. And now one of the original endpoint security engineers is one of our co-founders.
Thank you.
We have a good relationship with that team.
Questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.